Good afternoon, everybody, and you're really welcome to the penultimate session in our Engineering Virtual Career Series here at the QIT today. Just a massive thank you to all the students and academic colleagues who are joining us and streaming this, and indeed graduates who may be watching this from far afield or at home. We are delighted to welcome alucraft today, and we're joined by Rachel Bradford, who is the HR manager, Jessica McGovern, who's HR and payroll administrator, and two really important people because they hire and pay you at the same time. So you take note of those guys. We're also joined by Silvia Luca, who is a lead engineer, and Killian O'Murray, who's a junior engineer. Guys, you're absolutely delighted to have you here today. Really welcome to the DQIT Virtual Career Series. We're excited to listen about what graduate opportunities you have upcoming for DQIT students. And without further ado, Rachel, I'm sure you want to take it away with your presentation. So if students do have any questions, please pop them in the chat. I already have a couple of questions coming in from a class. So we're, as I said, delighted to have you here with us today, and excited to hear about all the opportunities with alucraft.
Great. Thanks a million, Anthony, and thanks everyone who's dialing in today. So like Anthony said, we're here from alucraft, and we're really excited to talk to you today about our graduate and internship opportunities. So I'm just going to hand over to my colleague Jessica, and she'll go into a bit more detail about who alucraft are and what we do.
Hi everybody. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a brief overview of what alucraft do and who we are. So we were founded in 1975. We're a leading pioneer in design, engineering, manufacturing, installation and maintenance of architectural glazing systems. We are proud to be able to offer our client the full design, fabrication and installation service for large-scale, high-value projects. Some of the systems that we use are utinized and stick curtain walling, roof glazing, point fix and structural glazing, and cladding solutions. And some of the disciplines that go along with that would be facade design, structural engineering, site management, and quantity surveying. I'll just give you a little brief overview of our group structure. So alucraft Limited is actually part of the Clarison Group, and along with alucraft Limited sit William Cox in Ireland. And then other than that, we have some groups over in the UK, which is alucraft Systems and EAG. And then some of our group locations are Ireland. We have some in the UK. And then along with that, we have some design offices over in Poland, Spain, and the Philippines. And to just give you some more information on our current projects, I'm going to pass it over to Silvia, who's our lead structural engineer, sorry.
Thank you, Jessica. Hi, everyone. I'm Silvia Luca, the lead structural engineer, and I will briefly be discussing about some of our current projects and about the responsibilities of an alucraft structural engineer. So we have Spencer Place. The architect on the project is Henry J. Lyons. Main contractor PJ Haggerty's. Most of the envelopes are made in Mchugh unitized bespoke facades and Mchugh stick. We have some Ryco on the roof. The value of the job is 34 million euros, and some of the interesting features, more challenging structurally, we have some large span glass fin facades on the ground floor with 9 meter span glass fins, a hanging glass veil which hangs over 4 meters, multiple atria, a class 1 glass roof with glass beams, and a 16 meter span atrium wall. Fibonacci Square, the architect is Henry J. Lyons, main contractor CISC. Most of the envelope is done in Mchugh unitized bespoke and Mchugh stick. The value for the job is 24 million. Some of the interesting features are the stone canopies, which have approximately 1.5 meter span, a glass fin curtain wall, and again, a hanging atrium wall, which hangs over 7 stories this time. Tropical Fruit, the architect Henry J. Lyons again, main contractor PJ Haggerty's. Most of the envelopes are done on the unitized bespoke curtain wall. We have some stick curtain wall on the ground floor and some cladding, which is done in our own alucraft rain screen system. The value is 6 million euros, and some of the interesting features are glass fin facades and the glass roof with some trapezoidal glass beams. Kildare Street, the architect is RKD, main contractor John Paul Construction. Most of the facades are done in unitized curtain wall with some significant cladding on it, also done in the alucraft rain screen system. The value is 4 million, And some of the interesting features is the glass atrium, which is made on steel structure, and it's hanged fully from the new building, and it's braced on the sides also in the new building. 2 gram parade, the architect Henry J. Lyons, main contractor CISC. Most of the curtain walls are made in the stick system. The value of the project is 5 million euros. And some of the interesting features are a glass atria on a steel structure, which comprises of 12-meter high steel portal frames. What does an alucraft engineer do? In a nutshell, we ensure all works meet the minimum criteria for stiffness, resistance, and stability. To that end, we assess loading conditions, such as like wind, live, thermal, permanent loads, etc. We carry preliminary engineering assessment on proposed arrangements and advise on design solutions. We undertake detailed structural analysis using a combination of finite element analysis, code checks, Excel sheets, and engineering judgment. We liaise with our design department and with external consultants and client. We provide structural calculations, reports, and design solutions tailored around project-specific requirements. We review drawings to ensure compliance with structural requirements, and we collaborate intensively with our design department colleagues. Most often than not, we carry out also site inspections. We record anything we find on site to ensure minimum quality is achieved. And at the end of the day, we go home happy, I guess. That's pretty much I had to say. Back to you, Jessica or Rachel. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Silvia. So just to kind of give you an idea of the graduate program, so our graduate program is designed to run over a 2-year period, and we have it broadly broken down into modules. So you can see there on the screen just a sample of some of the modules that you would cover as part of our graduate program. I guess the key thing about our program is that we very much believe in real life hands-on experience. So we kind of take the view that, you know, you've done however many years of your college course, and now it's time for you to come into a company like alucraft and apply what you've learned in college in real life. So although the look of the modules there might give the impression that it's a very academic graduate program, it's actually not. It's very, very practical and really based on hands-on experience. You get to spend time not only in the design department where the engineering team sits, but you also get to spend time across other areas of the business. And we think that's really important just to make sure that you have a full understanding of how the company operates as a whole, and to, you know, make sure that you kind of get introduced to and can build relationships with colleagues across different departments as well. As part of the graduate program, you will also get to spend time out on our sites. As Silvia mentioned, like one of the key aspects of the structural engineering role is to going out to site and doing site inspections. And we also ensure that you get to spend time in our production facility as well, just so that you kind of have an understanding of how the product moves from design to production and then out onto site. Like I said, our program is very much based on real life experience. So, you know, once you've kind of had your 2 to 3 week settling in period, we'll put you to work on real projects straight away. We don't really see there being any benefit on you working on something theoretically. We'll put you on a real life project. You'll have support, obviously. We're not going to throw you into the deep end, but we do think it's important that from the beginning you're contributing to the company and you're getting the experience of working on a live project and all that comes with that. As well as our graduate program, we also offer internships, so that might be applicable to some of you. So we run a 10-week summer internship program, usually between June to August. And I think the real benefit coming from doing an internship with ourselves is that if you successfully complete your internship program, you are guaranteed to be fast-tracked to the final round of interviews for the graduate program. So, you know, you get a little bit of special treatment, I suppose, if you do an internship with us. So I'm going to hand you over to Killian now, who completed an internship with us a few years ago, and he's now working full-time with us as a junior engineer.
Thanks, Rachel. Hi, everyone. So my name's Killian, and I'm a junior engineer with alucraft. So I graduated from DIT this year and was offered a full-time role as a junior engineer with alucraft, following on from my internship that I completed in the summer of 2019. So while undertaking the internship, you get a great insight as to how the work is completed, not just, as Rachel said, in the design office, but also getting out to visit sites, seeing how the components and calculations that are completed in the office are used out on site and practically. So some of the work that I'd be doing at the moment is wind calculations, glass calculations for all the different projects. And it's definitely a great insight once you finish college to finally see what you've been learning being put into place. So I definitely recommend, if you can get an internship as well, that it gives you a great step to get in as a junior engineer or into the next step of your career. So I'll pass back to either Rachel or Jessica.
Great, thanks, Killian. So I guess just to give you like an understanding of our application process, so we do have a dedicated graduate careers page on our website. So if you go to alucraftgroup.com, you'll find all the details there. So you can apply either through the website, or you can send your CV and a brief cover letter to our dedicated graduate recruitment email address, which is gradcareers@alucraft.ie. So both myself and Jessica monitor that inbox. So you're coming through to a real person. You're not coming through to a robot who's going to screen your application and kick it out because it doesn't like the way you formatted your CV. And then if you are successful and we screen your CV and we feel that you might be a good fit for the company, there is a kind of 3-stage interview and recruitment process. So the first round would be a video call interview. And in that interview, we're just trying to get a sense of who you are, what motivates you, what's your personality like, are you going to fit in with the culture of the company? If you're successful and you pass that stage, you'll be asked to do a skills assessment just so we can kind of get an idea of where you're at and, what you've learned in college and how you could be able to apply that with us. And then if you pass that stage, you'll then be invited to a second round interview, which would take place with a panel made up of members of the design and engineering management team. So it's not too onerous a process, but it is quite thorough just to make sure that we do get the right fit and that you're happy and we're happy as well. So I'm just going to share with you now a video that we have that will kind of give you some more insight into our graduate program. And then after that, we'll be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Perfect. Thanks, Rachel.
My name is Jack Mchugh and I am the Chief Executive of the alucraft Group. I have worked in alucraft and William Cox since 1991, and together with my colleagues I have managed a team of very successful people to make the alucraft Group the leading group in Ireland and the UK in the business of facade provision.
We are specialised in curtain walling, windows, sliding doors, all for the commercial industry, mainly offices and retail. Graduates fit into the company in many different ways. We have many different departments under design. We've got the DFA, Design for Architecture, which would suit a lot of architectural students. We've got Design for Production, DFP, which would suit a lot of industrial design people who use a lot of SolidWorks and who are working on engines and parts going together. We've also got the FPP, which is a department that designs all our pressed metal.
Never really realised that there was such a large area for specialists like facade design until I came here and realised, you know, there's about almost 100 people working here and everyone has their own job and their own bit and it all ties into one another and they all work so well together. Like.
The hardest part, I would say, is initially starting and just not understanding fully what's going on, but over time you start to learn about the company a bit more, what specifically they do and how you can actually contribute.
Many people entering the facade industry did not come from an educated background. We believe that the industry has become much more technical and more scientific, and as a result of that, we need bright, young, well-educated people to come into the industry.
The staff here are very friendly and you will learn a lot, even more than you would have learned in college. In a certain amount of time, you learn so much in a short period of time working with experts who have been using these programs and have so much deep understanding of the construction market.
You design something on AutoCAD or Revit or SolidWorks or whatever, and then it's actually made in the factory a few weeks later or a few days later or even straight away. You can go from seeing it like 2D to 3D to actually physically and hold it and say, I drew this up on a computer a few days ago. You know, it's amazing that it's already out now and it's ready to go to site.
Great. So we're happy to take any questions that
Perfect.
might be coming in, or if anyone would like us to expand on anything.
There's a couple coming in. Just firstly, thank you all. Really, really interesting. Silvia, there's a question actually for you, and it's probably I'll start off with it because I think people are looking at you as a lead, and they're going, well, that's probably where I want to get to. They are interested in why cladding, I suppose, as a specialism area for somebody at your level, and how your career journey got you to where you are.
So just to see, I didn't understand the part with the cladding.
Okay, so why such a? It's a niche area, isn't it?
It is a very niche area indeed. Yes.
And I suppose that's the question. What attracted you to that area?
Well, if I'm being completely honest, I got after my studies, I spent about 2 years designing structural buildings and big structures, and then I got a job with a facade company. And it wasn't long after that I discovered that that's where I actually belonged, because it's the architectural nature of the facade sector that really appeals to me. Like, everything has to be aesthetic, everything has to be, whatever bolts we have to be hidden, stiffeners. It's always architecture and aesthetic. So I'm here, I think, almost 10 years later, and I'm happy with my choice. I love working in the facade industry and like doing engineering it's architectural engineering, I would call it.
So would you say then it allows for a bit more creative expression, potentially?
Yes.
Because that could be really interesting to some of our students who are maybe looking at a typical or traditional career, and then looking at this going, I mean, maybe they're sitting across that creative side a bit more. So it may just be putting a light bulb sort of moment up there for them, you know. So thanks for that. That was really interesting. Rachel, one for you, and it's around the assessment itself. So is it, and you don't have to give away any clues, but is it a typical psychometric assessments from the perspective of, you know, spatial awareness, numerical ability, verbal reasoning, that sort of thing, or is there a personality assessment in there as well?
No, it's actually a bit more technical. So what would happen is we would prepare a case study for you based around one of our projects. Okay. And then you would be assessed on different elements of that. It's more to see kind of what's your approach, and also kind of can you use, or would you be able to use some of the software and programs that we use. But we do understand that not every piece of program we use might not be covered in your college course. We are aware of that, but it's just to kind of give us an idea of your potential, I suppose.
Okay, perfect. And then you mentioned internships, and again, I think that will be of real interest. And Cillian has given it the perfect example of why that might be a really, really good idea for an undergrad student to consider. There's structured sort of placements within semester at DQIT, and some students are just wondering if you'd be in a position to consider a student for a term placement, as it were, an official placement, which tends to happen in the semester.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that we've contacted institutions about before, and it's definitely something that we're very open to.
Perfect. Yeah. And then a trickier one in here. You don't have to give the percentage, but you said that for students who complete an internship, they're fast tracked, if you like, onto the final round of the graduate program, which is obviously should be a huge attraction to anybody applying. What percentage of students typically go from intern into your graduate program? What's the conversion rate? I'd imagine it's high.
Yeah, so at the moment it's 100%.
Wow.
Everyone who has done an internship with us has gone on to end up working with us. So we have Cillian in engineering, and then we also have a student who, well, he's not a student anymore, but he was a student. He did an internship with us on the design side of our graduate program, and he's been working with us. He's 3 years with us now.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been putting that up on the slide, 100% conversion. I think that's really positive. It says a lot about the internship experience, and sometimes that can be very, very positive, and sometimes it's not. But with 100% conversion rate, I'd definitely be singing that from the rooftops. Cillian, one in for you here, and I was just struck by the projects, and I think this is what the student is talking about. That as Silvia was going through the projects, a lot of the names would be large graduate recruiters as well. So, a lot of the big sort of construction firms. What attracted you to alucraft, I suppose, obviously outside of the internship, and if you knew something now, or what you wish you knew now that you didn't know in your final year of college?
I think when you look at that, as you said, a lot of people go down the route of the main contractors and the big companies that are out there, that there's more space to be creative when in a job with alucraft. There's areas that aren't covered in a college course as well, that there's always space to be learning something new in here every day that you might not learn with a main contractor, where there could be 20 to 30 graduates at the same time completing the same program.
So that smaller team environment is really, really important. I think that will be a major attraction to students as well. And Jessica or Rachel, again, different streams, I suppose. So we're engineering, and you guys, of course, are joining us again for the built environment, which we're excited to hear from you again, of course. But different engineering streams. So specifically, I suppose we're mech and elect today, sustainable maybe. What other areas do you recruit from?
Yeah, so mechanical engineering students might be interested in the design side of our graduate program. The person that I referenced, who's with us 3 years now, he came from a mechanical engineering course. Okay. So don't want the mechanical engineers to be feeling left out. There's definitely a route for them if they're interested. Yeah.
Brilliant. Architectural technology?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
They're definitely suited to the design side. So we'll be going more into detail on that side of the program, on the built environment.
Built environment. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the internship one. That was perfect. Okay. Yeah. Here's a good one. Rachel or Jessica, again, in your opinion, what makes a good candidate? That's a big, broad question, but if you break it down into application, CV, application form potentially, and competencies, if you're testing for those on the application form or throughout the process, in your mind, what makes an exceptional candidate?
I think what makes an exceptional candidate really comes down to your enthusiasm and personality. So to some degree, everyone's done the same course, and you come out of that with a base level of technical knowledge, which is great. But what really sets people apart is if they can show to us that they're enthusiastic and that they have a good work ethic. You know, whether it's the fact that you've had a part-time job during your studies, or you're able to show that, you know, you've tried to do some work experience or something like that. I just think like having a bit of real life work experience really stands to people. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Jessica, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that Rachel's definitely hit the nail on the head. I think other than having your degree or being a graduate, it definitely comes down to whether you're going to apply yourself 100%.
Brilliant. And then one final one before we wrap up, and it's probably from one of our academic colleagues, and it's around the portfolio. So do you encourage students to present your a portfolio during the assessment piece, or do you encourage them to bring an e-portfolio? Is that something you'd like to see in a CV potentially?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we would recommend bringing to interview with you.
Okay.
Obviously, with video call interviews, there's the ability to share the screen. And then if the student was able to get through to the second round where they meet with the panel of management team, definitely bring that with you. It's something that we do like to see.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I would encourage all students actually to jump onto the website, because there's a huge amount of content that they can use and prepare themselves when they're at that application stage. And I think you mentioned throughout the presentation that mission and values piece is actually quite important to your organization. So I'd encourage students to jump onto the website. It's really good, and the graduate program is clearly laid out. We've been asked for the slides, Rachel. I don't know if you can maybe send them to me if you're happy to share them.
Yeah, of course, no problem.
Perfect. And we will have students, I'm sure, obviously in attendance on Monday. But if anybody has any questions, you've already provided the email address, which I've popped up in the chat, and is available obviously on the website as well. So I'm sure they can get in touch.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we monitor that email address. It's not a robot, it's me and Jessica, so you will get through to someone.
You get through to somebody. Okay. Well, listen, Cillian, Jessica, Rachel, Silvia, and listen, a massive thank you. It was a really brilliant presentation. Great to hear, the recent graduate voice and the experienced lead voice, and obviously Rachel and Jessica, thanks so much for your input in relation to the application process and the overview of the company. It was really fantastic. We are looking forward to welcoming you back on Monday, and you are back in at, what time are you in at? You are in at, let me double check. You are back in again at 12:30.
Yeah.
So students potentially are watching this, they may want to jump back in again and ask you other questions. Something comes from over the weekend, if they're not too busy, they can obviously join us again. Just because you're an engineering student, you're more than welcome to join us on the built environment sessions as well. The nice thing about virtual is you can have as many people as you want. So we're looking forward to welcome you back on Monday. Thanks again so much for your time. I do hope you all have a lovely weekend.
Thanks, you too. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
You're welcome. No worries.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.